Evening, everybody. Welcome to Just a Little Bit, and episode 16, The Great Hisscape. I'm your DM, Evan, and thank you for joining us as we once more delve into the world of Obra, a world crafted by the hands of the ancient architects and filled with magic and wonder. We have just one quick announcement before we dive into tonight's adventure. This Wednesday at 7:30, same time you're joining us here now, we will be kicking off a new short campaign adventure called Proclaimers of Heroes, where our party will take on the roles of mortal agents of the Muse in a mythical Greece on the hunt for heroes so that they can groom them into legends, powered by the Cortex system. We hope you can join us for a lot of pop culture references, a little bit of heroic meddling, and a lot of mayhem. For tonight's adventure,
mayhem? Never.
I mean, never. For tonight's adventure, we rejoin our party in the mountain town of Seren, in the countryside of Rhion, far from their home. They landed in Seren after fleeing the lair of the pearlescent dragon Lord Meadowsweet, but sadly discovered it was not the respite they hoped for. Instead, the town has become the training grounds for the Serpentine Yuan-Ti. Once human, they have been altered by a powerful magical ritual that drains them of their emotions and instead turns them into serpentine humanoids under the control of who knows at this point. To help them serve as infiltrators, they are in Seren being trained to mimic human emotions and interactions. Luckily, the party has been mistaken for agents of their enemies and treated with deference and respect. In another lucky stroke, while getting to know Seren, they connected with the proprietor of the Sylvan Grove, a man by the name of Rhion, with a plan to escape Seren with a group of refugee families who are all in danger from the current regime. And luckily, the plan has room for a few adventurers. So, as you all step outside the Sylvan Grove Tavern, you can see that dusk has begun to settle over the village of Seren. The chill mountain wind blowing through the trellises of ivy and flowers that hang overhead send a swirl of flower petals into the air and bring with them the scent of pine and rich floral. Several magical lights bob gently over the small marketplace, joined by the fire of braziers and lanterns on the various stalls, as the shopkeepers begin to close up for the night. Collecting their goods and putting them away, several Yuan-Ti still move among the human crowd, their faces oddly still as they engage in conversation with the villagers of Seren, marked here and there only by a smattering of scales across their face or on their arms, marking them out as different. Down the street, you see a large wooden building that looms over the edge of the marketplace, the sign overhead showing a Pegasus perched on a branch like a bird that has just alighted. The Pegasus roost is emblazoned in bold blue letters just below. What would you like to do?
Flip is just going to be like, I'm exhausted. If I'm going to be of any use tonight, I need to go sleep now. And so I'm just going to head into the inn.
I'll come with you. I could do with sitting down and planning.
I wanted to go shopping really quick.
Okay, so you are in the marketplace. So what exactly are you looking for?
I'm looking for alchemical supplies.
All right. Do a quick investigation check for me, just to see if any of the time that you've either walking through the market the first time or now, you're able to identify any of the shops.
Hey, Calvin.
28?
Yeah.
Yeah, with that, you definitely notice a shop that's just to the side.
I'm good at very few things, but I'm very good at the very few things that I'm very good at.
You do notice kind of tucked between two larger buildings is a smaller, almost, it gives you the vibe of a hut. The window's full of a number of like drying herbs and plants, as well as like several pots of plants still growing along the bottom. The sign above it just has a growing tree that's sort of all twisted around in itself like a bonsai. And this is the Winds of Magic.
Perfect.
Before Calvin walks away, I'm going to reach into the bag and think about local gold and just try to pull out like 50 gold, hand it over to Calvin and be like, is this going to be enough?
You reach deep into the bag of holding and you try to scoop your hands through and you think about like the local currency and you still have one of the coins as like a reference. It takes you a couple seconds because you get the feeling like the bag is sort of trying to like sort through what it has available for you because you're being so specific, but then eventually you feel the cool click of coins in your hand, and you do indeed pull out 50 gold pieces worth of local currency, which is a fairly large size mound.
I'll try to, like, as non-flashily as possible, just like hand it over to Calvin.
Hey, I'll take it. I'm probably gonna spend more than this, but that's fine.
I mean, how much more are you gonna spend?
If I remember correctly, every one of these things that I want to make is gonna cost me 25 gold. 12.5 gold. So 50 would get me 4, which is realistically probably all I can make in 4 hours.
All right. So you're going to head into the shop, I assume?
Yes.
As you head in, you see a middle-aged woman behind the counter. She has thick black hair that's very curly, that's been pulled down into like a bun, or pulled down into a braid that falls down the side of her shoulder. Still sort of like pulling against the confines of it. Heart-shaped face, dark eyes, and she's talking animatedly to one of the patrons whose back is to you currently. Well, I told you before that what I carry by default isn't meant for your skin type. So if you want something that's going to help keep you from drying out, I'm going to have to cook up something custom for you. That might take a couple of days, but I'm happy to do so. And then you see the patrons sort of shake their head. That would be acceptable. Thank you. Right, you just come back in a couple of days and I'll have it available for you. And the figure standing in front of the counter turns around, and it is indeed another one of the Yuan Ti. This one has these bright yellow scales that roll up both of their arms, and you can see they're actually starting to spill across their face. Besides the mayor, this is probably the Yuan Ti you've seen that shows the most signs of having been like transformed. And you can actually see in several places what looks to be like the skin is starting to shed and molt, as serpents do, over the scales. It like looks at you all with a brief flash of like focus, and then seems disinterested and just walks past you out the door. Hi there, what can I help you with?
I feel like Calvin walks up and like already has like a list written down and just kind of like slides it across the table.
The woman takes it from you, looks down at the list, and then looks back up at you and goes, I don't think I've seen you around here before. And this is an interesting list of ingredients you're looking for.
Yeah, you probably haven't seen me before, and I mean, probably not again. We're just here for the day. We're leaving.
Right. Well, I think I have almost everything that you need here. If you want to just give me a second, and it will cost you about, and she quotes you a price that's, as we both know since we already looked at these items, what the price is going to be. So it will roughly run you about 50 gold pieces.
Perfect.
Yeah. Just give me a minute to get them out of the back. And she like folds them up and hands the list back to you. And steps in through it. There's like a arched small wooden doorway that she pushes through. Looking back through it, you can see a number of beakers and ambelix and fires like flickering in the back. And you see what looks to be like a pretty comprehensive alchemist set kind of sprawled across a large counter in the back room. And then the door clicks shut behind her.
Valen and Twid, did you two go with Calvin, or did you two come with me and Flip?
Did Selwyn ever come back with news about a doll shop?
You haven't. Selwyn has not returned yet.
I think Twid probably went with Calvin and is just like sitting on the ground outside the shop.
Okay, so you're just kind of waiting.
And I feel like I would have gone with you, Thorn, and Flip.
So where are Thorn and Flip going?
The inn.
Okay, yeah. So you head down to while we're waiting for the woman to come back with the herbs, we'll cut back to you heading down towards the inn. It is, as you expected, in bold letters, like I said above, there is the Pegasus Roost. As you push open the door, you're in like a decently nice, what was probably meant to be like a lobby, ye old lobby. There's a couple of like battered older chairs, and sitting by the fire is a cat, sort of like eating bread on a big cushion, and sort of purring with a little flick of its tail. And behind the counter, you can see that there's a man waiting for you. Blonde hair, like very short and kind of trimmed and pushed to the side. Bright blue eyes, and dressed for what you know to be like rural, but fairly like well kept and a little bit expensive.
Side note, because Thorn knows this, but Joey doesn't. What was the name of the bartender again?
Rhys. Rhys.
Oh, sorry, Flip. Did you want to do this or?
I mean, exhausted Flip is probably just gonna like stumble in and throw himself on the counter and be a little dramatic about it. It's like,
Thorn is
we really
holding you
need
by the back
that.
of your shirt, so you can't do that. Like, just not right now, hon. Thorn will walk up and flip to the counter.
It's like,
Be like, would we possibly be able to get a room? Reese down at the Sylvan Grove told us you could help us.
Of course. How many rooms do you need?
Just the one. We won't be staying very long.
Absolutely. For the 3 of you?
There are 5 in total.
I don't have any rooms that are going to be fairly comfortable for the 5 of you.
We are very used to bunking. As I said, we will not be staying particularly long.
All right. Well, one night's just going to run you, we'll say for the 5 of you, a gold piece.
back in the shimmery bag of gold. And
Yeah,
then
no,
take out-
you have no problem locating an individual piece of gold. And quickly swap hands. He provides you with a small brass key.
I'll give him a half-hearted wink and then just walk away without even really clocking his response because I am truly exhausted.
Yeah, he kind of like looks after you. Like the rest of you notice him looking after Flip with like a mild concern of like something seems wrong with that. Like noticing how exhausted Flip is.
It's been a day. He will be all right.
Of course. Can't say it's the weirdest thing I've seen today. If you are still here in the morning, when you are in the morning, we'll be having breakfast. You're welcome to it if you want to join us.
We will consider it, thank you.
Of course. You retire upstairs, and you do indeed find that the accommodations are nice, but fairly simple. There are 2 beds that would probably be the equivalent of like full-sized beds. So they could sleep more than one, but you'd be cozy. The room itself, clean, well kept, wooden, very simple, 1 window, like nothing to write home about.
Flip is just gonna collapse on one of the beds, and of note, he sleeps like a little otter curled up in a ball.
So you turn into your otter form, or you just sleep like an otter?
I imagine that Flip like shifts form in the middle of the night, like in his sleep.
Okay. You can do so. Shapeshifting doesn't cost you any resources beyond your time.
Yeah, it's definitely Mr. B kicking in his sleep type thing.
But just
I can
think,
imagine it.
every bed is a California king when you can just sleep as an otter.
True.
It's true.
So you settle down to sleep. The rest of you get into the room. We'll cut back to Calvin face to face with the shopkeep as she kind of kicks the door open and she's carrying several parcels in her arms. And she comes trundling out and like jumps them onto the table. She goes, "I'm sure you're well aware of what you're doing." And like as she said that, she looks at Pork Roll with the look of mild like, "Aw." Not used to seeing a construct like that I'm not used to seeing a construct like that every day in town, but I feel I must give you a fair warning. I'd be careful how you mix all of these. They have a powerful sulfuric effect if you're not careful.
Types into pork roll sulfuric.
They would make you sleepy.
Oh, yeah, that's the point.
Yeah.
Calvin doesn't say that. I assume he tries to be like, yeah, my one friend has trouble sleeping at night, so,
And she gets a little, well, if you're going to use that, they're definitely going to get some sleep.
That's the hope. He's very exhausted.
Permanent sleep.
Well, I wish them and you the best of luck, and thank you for your patronage.
And Pork Roll will pick everything up and carry it, trundle back to the inn.
And you see she leans around you a little bit to watch Pork Roll move, like taking it all in with a little bit of surprise. And she pulls out what looks to be a small notebook and starts like writing down observations as she watches Pork Roll walk away.
Is Pork Roll dummy thick?
Pork Roll's thighs do save lives. Also,
I mean,
like he's 3 foot tall and like squat, so like he's probably pretty thick.
I was gonna say he is rather stand out as a samurai pizza cat construct.
Yes.
You know, he has stage presence.
He's adorable and he knows it for his uniqueness, nerve, and talent.
She's happy to hand you over the things that you need, no problem.
Perfect. Then I assume back to the inn, and I just want to tinker with it all and see how successful I can be.
Very well. Are you going to forgo taking a long rest then?
Correct. I'm not taking a rest.
Okay. So I'm going to say you can give me, for what you're making, a craft check for every hour.
Dexterity.
Mm-hmm. You know what? For this one, let's say because you're working off of a recipe, we're going to use your intelligence.
Then the first one is an 8.
So the first batch.
The second hour is a natural 1.
Ooh. So the first batch knocks you out.
Is a natural 20.
Okay. So
Can we make sure to
batch,
crack a window so we don't get sleep gassed to
as
death?
you're mixing it all together, there's a moment where you mean to scoop something carefully, and as you go to tip it, it just falls entirely out of your hand, splashes into it, and there's just this burst of vibrant purple mist that wafts up into your face, and you all watch Calvin just go boom and pass right out onto the floor. And after a second, you see Pork Roll lean down, grab the collar of his shirt, and start to pick him up. But he is still completely passed out while doing so.
That actually sounds like a good idea. And Twit is just gonna go to a corner and power themselves down for a long rest.
Okay, so you're gonna just go to bed.
Yeah, then you should get some rest. I'll take the first watch.
Okay. And I crawl into bed and lay next to Otter Flip. I feel like I would hold Flip kind of like a stuffed animal a little bit. Be like,
I feel like there needs to be fan art of Valen holding his Otter Flip. That just seems really cute in my mind.
I'm here for it.
So you do so. The second batch, worse effect. The first time you mess it up, but you manage to save most of your most of what you were using. This time around, it blows up on you, and so you're down 2 doses of whatever pieces you need to be brewing. So if you want to continue, nat 20 was the next one.
Nat 20 for the third.
So, having learned a lot and making sure that you're not going to repeat the same mistakes this time, you're very successful, and you create an excellent example of what you're looking to make. It is of exemplary quality. I will say increase the DC that's set for default by 2. Only for this one. And for those watching, just so it doesn't seem like a tease, he's making sleep grenades. That's the getting knocked out.
And the fourth hour is also an 8.
Same thing. You're feeling cocky after your successful, perfect example, and you knock yourself right out.
Well, I wanted to make 4. I made 1, so I'll take a 25%. That's not bad.
But you didn't spend your gold, so it's okay.
True. It cost me nothing.
You spent dragon gold.
Yeah.
Does that mean you managed to get 6 hours of sleep?
No, he did not get 6 hours of sleep. Let's just say when you get knocked out by magical sleep gas, it's not a relaxing sleep. And Pork Roll usually woke him up after a minute. No, Pork Roll did the cat pat, 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 pat.
I need to go up. I need to go outside. I need to go outside. I need to go outside. You open the door, just looks at you, and then goes back to bed.
Yeah. Cat stuff. Anyone else have anything they want to do with their evening before going to sleep?
Thorn's going to keep watch until such a point that they won't get a long rest if they don't, and then either wake Valen up for the rest of it or hope Twit is awake by then.
I mean, Twit only needs 4 hours.
Also, Calvin and Pork Roll are both up the whole time anyway.
Thorn stays up for like a good hour, just like not able to fall asleep, and then eventually we'll let Calvin take the rest of the watch until Twit is awake.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Because I want a long rest.
So everyone's trying to get a long rest, but Calvin and Pork Roll. All right. So you all settle in. You finish your research, Calvin, and you're sort of left to your own devices for a little while. And as you're all gotten to that lovely, comfortable spot, that the level of sleep that you only get like very deep in the morning.
Thorn is on the floor, like seated, sleeping. It is not. They did not get that level of sleep. It's like still sort out watching the door, but just eyes closed.
Fair. Everyone else does. Most everyone else does. And then Twid, you wake up after 4 hours, feeling refreshed and rejuvenated. But you know that you still need to engage in only light activity at the most to not interfere with your ability to rest. To gain rest. Around 3 o'clock, Twid, as you're like tinkering with one of your projects, you just hear at the window.
How high is this window?
You're in the second floor, so the window is not like a ground level, but it's not super high either.
How high is it physically, like in the room too? Like, can Twit actually see out it?
If you go up to it, it's about where your chin is. So like your head reaches over it's very when Barnaby looks out a window.
Twid will walk over to it and look around.
As you look out, it takes you a second to sort of like in the dark see what's going on, but you realize there's a figure casting some of the darkness on the window, and that's why it was hard to see, as a little bit of light glitters across the side of their face, and you recognize Alwyn, the guard that you met at when you very first came to town. Cloak up, on like the edge of a branch, like tapping on the window.
E.T. phone home.
Twit is... I was gonna like insight, but Twit's not good at that, so no. Twit is just gonna go... Alwyn's gonna hear in the back of their mind, "Can I help you with something?"
And you see him like jump for a second and then like look back at you and sort of get like this disquieted look on his face of like, and then you just see him mouth like,
"Okay."
Behind you, Thorn jumps awake, like sword in hand, like, what the fuck?
As you do, Thorn, you see climbing into the window with the help of Twid is Alwyn, the guard that you met when you first entered town. He pushes his hood back and you can see that he is dressed very, like all of his clothes are dark, and he's wearing a coat that even comes up sort of around the bottom of his face. So hood up, very little of his face would be exposed.
And remind me for future, for just for past Joey being dumb, Alwyn doesn't have any visible scales, right?
No, to be fair, Alwyn was wearing armor everywhere except for like his face was, when he had a helmet on that was covering most of his face.
Oh, I thought he took it off.
He took it off when you got into town, so you never saw any scales on his face, but you didn't see any of his arms or the rest of his body the last time you met him. He steps down and you hear like the thump thump of his boots, and he like looks out the window for a second and then slides the window back shut and pulls the curtains. And he's like, the timetable's moved up a little bit. Reese sent me.
I'm not having a good day, so if you're here to hurt us, you will probably regret that.
And he looks down at Twin and he looks more than a little disquieted for a second, like as this small little construct threatens him slightly, maybe? No, I'm sorry. Reese sent me. He let me know that you were going to be helping him with his project. But some matters have changed and we need to move up our timetable slightly.
We were aware that the timetable was moving up. He did say he'd be coming himself.
Yes, that was the plan originally. But something's caused a stir in town. A number of guards have started to secure all the entrances and exits to the town, and some new people appeared about an hour ago. They went immediately to the temple to talk to Arlissa.
And how do I know that this isn't a trap? Like, just dead staring him in the eyes.
He like stares back at you, and he's like, "Because I wouldn't waste my time climbing in your window. I work for the city guard. I would just bust in."
Fair enough.
Calvin's
And
already
Thorn will start waking everyone up, like,
packed away all of his
Time to
stuff
go.
and like put the bag back on pork roll and like, okay, let's go.
He's like, "Well, we need to be careful. Most of the guards only seem to be circling the city. They haven't sent any new patrols inside, and I've already cleared with everyone to make sure that no one's going to be walking the beat between here and the Sylvan Grove where we'll meet the others. But we need to still be on our guard. I'm not sure what the Yuan team might do given the circumstances."
Can we search you for scales?
And like he looks down at Twid and then looks at the rest of you, and he goes, "Your small friend is very disquieting. I haven't been around since
You don't get
in a
used to
while, and I don't remember them being this
No,
cool."
Twid's not a Stalsred.
they're not.
Twid is a Twid.
And he goes, "Fine." And you see him take a moment. He pushes the sleeves of his tunic up underneath his and shows you his arms. And then he like pulls the tunic up so you can see his like his torso, and he's like does a quick spin around so you can see the back as well. He's like, "No scales."
If Flip is awake, Flip is gonna hear Twid's little knocking in the back of their brain since Twid can't talk directly into their head anymore.
Yeah.
That's right. I assume being exhausted, it took a little bit of effort to like wake Flip up, and he has full like bedhead hair everywhere, and it's just like.
It was not
Those
a
of
nice
you who
wake
went
up.
to bed immediately do still get a long rest.
I will say, like, waking up and kind of like with this commotion that's happening and like Elwyn explaining everything, I am gonna try to insight check him just to be like, does this seem like weird still? Like,
Yeah, give me an insight check then.
I got a 25.
So Alwyn definitely seems nervous to you, but as you're thinking about it, you don't really feel like the nerves are like out of scale with what's going on, given the circumstances.
Scales.
Scales. Ha ha ha. Little pun there. He seems nervous but honest with you. And it's the way he keeps kind of looking at the door and looking at the window, you get the feeling like he's worried about being detected.
Well, I trust you, Owen. So what do we need to do?
So like I said, the beat between here and there has been covered by someone who's aware of what's going on, and we shouldn't have any problems. We just need to get there, and then we need to figure out how we're getting out of town, since they're covering all of the exits that I would normally use, as well as the river. They brought in guards from outside as well, at least 24 who I don't know.
Perhaps Reese knows the secret way out of town. If not, there's always my way.
I suppose that's true. But he's like, first matter, and he goes back over to the window, slides it, like pushes the curtains open, slides it open, like looks out both sides. We need to just get out of here. So if you want to follow me, and he jumps out the window onto the branch, which is like the tree is sort of grown up close to the side of the building, so it's less a branch and more like the twisted part of one of the trunks, one side of the trunk. So you're able to jump off pretty easily. He climbs down to the bottom. As you look around, you realize you're in a small courtyard that's sort of trapped behind the inn, and there's an alleyway that it enters into.
So I assume Twid's brain knocking is what kind of wakes Flip up and will accept the call. That's still a thing.
Oh,
Yes.
Twid was just gonna say you're welcome when he pulled up his shirt.
Oh,
Sorry.
to be fair, just for color commentary on this side, since this is an LGBTQIA plus podcast, he is very ripped.
Of course. That is what fully brings Flip awake. When we kind of land in the courtyard, I'm going to kind of look over at Calvin and the rest of the party and pull out Turokadek and be like, does anybody need some help with the stealthing through this? I know some of us aren't great at that.
Calvin,
Okay.
And Valen, if you can.
Oh yeah, right. Valen wears heavy armor. Shit.
Yeah, well, luckily I have third level
Heavy armor that
spells
you
now.
make you wear.
So
I made you wear the shield. I never said anything about heavy armor.
We're gonna go with the third level enhance ability for Calvin and
I assume you're enhancing their dexterity?
yes. So they get
Cat's
Grace.
Twit is gonna stop you. Wait. What level is enhance ability or usually?
Second level.
Twit is not gonna stop you then, but Twit will just be like, I have a spell scroll for enhance ability too, but I don't think it will cover everyone.
It would cover one person.
I have a spell scroll that can cover one person.
Yeah. I'm just gonna go ahead and do that. We'll save that for another
Save it for
time.
later.
When it's
So you both have the
I just-
Cat's Grace.
And Cat's Grace.
so you have advantage on dexterity checks, and you also do not take damage from falling 20 feet or less.
So now I no longer have disadvantage.
It's something.
It helps. So both of you have it, and don't forget you now have you're now concentrating, I believe, on their enhanced ability.
Yes, that is also true.
So just make sure you're tracking the fact that you are concentrating for the sake of any other concentration spells you cast. Or damage. Not that that's going to happen, I'm sure. This is all going to go smoothly.
At this point, Twit is also summoning Selwyn back because Twit is starting to get a little worried about them.
Selwyn, after you summon them back, about a couple seconds later, zips through the window.
Did you ever find the doll shop?
No, I just kept looking. I didn't find anything.
Okay. Well, good job trying.
And like it just comes and lands on your shoulder. Yes.
So we're stealthing through the streets to the Sylvan Grove?
Sylvan Grove. Any of you that don't have cloaks, he'll offer you, like, he has a couple of, like, kind of tattered but dark-colored cloaks that are sort of sitting at the bottom of the tree, like he had brought them with him. He's like, does anyone need, like, cover-up so they don't see you?
Thorin will definitely take one of those.
Porkroll will take the opportunity to do a little, like, twirl in his crop top to remind everyone that he has said crop top.
I forgot about the crop top.
that.
Twid will take one of the cloaks and like use their shears to cut it shorter to Twid size.
Yeah, it doesn't take you very long to trim it down. So all of you are now in darker, like brown or black cloaks for the most part. And like, if you want to try to stealth to the Sylvan Grove, just give me stealth checks for the party. So if everyone wants to roll them up for me, and I'll roll Alwyn's.
Can I also say, we're a queer podcast because we comment often on the fashion choices that we've collected as characters.
Finally got one that wasn't
I mean, this
after
doesn't
4
shock me.
rolls. 22.
22? All right. What else we got?
16.
12.
19.
Calvin got an 11 and Porkroll got a 4.
So Porkroll's stealth is not his strong suit. There's a number of like clunk, 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 clunk moments where Porkroll's kind of just feet are very loudly stomping on the cobblestones. But luckily for you, it seems like Alwyn was true to his word and has done a good job of clearing the streets of anybody who might be like patrolling at this point. And you can see, kind of looking up at the moon, it is very late at night. If you had to ballpark it, you'd guess it's probably about 3 or 4 in the morning at this point.
Is Reese back at in hushed tones? I'm going to ask Alan. Yeah, Reese is back at the Sylvan Grove, right?
Yeah, he had to go himself to get a few of the others who were coming with us. He was worried that they'd be too nervous to come because of the guards. The plan is for him to meet us there.
Okay. just know if we don't see Rhys when we get there, you're going to be in trouble.
But is also...
If Rhys isn't there when we get there, we're all going to be in trouble.
Okay, good. Glad we're on the same page.
Twit is also holding Valen's hand since Valen doesn't have dark vision. And helping to guide.
Yeah.
Thanks,
and he did not bring any lights, but luckily, like, it's a small town, so a lot of parts of it aren't very well lit. Like, there's definitely the course of, like, major thoroughfares are lit, but, like, side streets and stuff, unless there's light coming from the buildings themselves, like, it's fairly pitch dark. Lots of stars kind of sparkling in the sky above you. The large trellises of all of the ivy and flowers look a little more sinister at night as they sort of, like, slowly sway in the breeze. And you can hear every once in a while the low, like, of, like, the rope and the wood in the wind. So it's a little unsettling as you're moving through, luckily probably covering up some of the sounds of clanking that Porkroll makes. You do fairly quickly, though, about 10 minutes later using stealth, arrive at the back of the Sylvan Grove. And Alwyn kind of turns back to you and is like, follow me through here, and pushes open the back door.
Did we notice, like, anyone as we were moving through? Like,
a couple of times you heard, I'm just going to say with your passive, you heard people, like, in the buildings. Like, you heard conversations that were a little too loud through, like, an open window. The sounds of people, like, you know, going about their life. You saw some figures, like, flashing against the curtains and the light, but you didn't see anybody out on the streets.
okay. So it wasn't, like, creepily dead quiet or anything. It was
And you saw
like...
a few signs that, like, even though it's super late at night, there's probably, like, people still, like, craftsmen who have reasons to work at night might still be up.
Okay.
After Alwyn goes inside the door while it's still open, can I make a perception check to, like, quickly look inside? Like, do I see anybody? Is this an ambush?
Yeah, you can give me a perception check.
23.
23. So you you kind of wave everybody away, and you do that, like, you push your back up against the wall and, like, look in real quick. After a moment of, like, quickly peering around and looking to the various room, you're in what looks to be like a storeroom where they probably keep a lot of the, like, stuff that's delivered to the tavern. And you can see just through one of the doorway kind of to the left of you what looks to be like a well-lit kitchen just beyond, and you can smell sort of like fresh spices and like that ever-pervasive, slightly stale liquor smell that almost any, like, bar back room tends to have. But, you know, like, looking around, you don't see any other figures besides Alwyn, who's moving confidently now through the stacks towards the front.
I'll follow him, hopeful that I'm not about to get clubbed over the head.
So you follow Alwyn into the Sylvan Grove, and the back is fairly well kept, like you'd probably expect. It's a little bit bigger than you were expecting it to be. As you realize, there's a stairwell to the side, which you think leads up to the next floor. And then, like I said, there's the kitchen to the left, and then there's a doorway that leads sort of through. You go through several stacks before you get to the door that leads out into the bar itself. As you step through that door, you are in the same room that you came into before, but you're behind the bar with the two large trees. And beneath you is this thick carpet of pine needles that makes your footsteps fairly silent as you walk in. And you can see there's a small group of people clustered at one of the tables in front of the bar, and all the windows have been covered over. Sort of obviously, it looks like some of them had curtains, but some that they probably never bothered to, like, put curtains on. Someone has gone over and, like, attached blankets to the side to it to completely cover the window. From the inside, real weird, and jumps out at you. And you can see that Rhys is there with a number of other humans, and, like, engaged in conversation.
How many are there?
Without Alwyn, there are 9.
One more than he said, but...
Flip is gonna... I mean, following behind Thorn, and when you kind of realize Rhys is there and who else is there, is gonna kind of dramatically pull back his head and be like, well, we're here. What is it you need us to do?
And you see several of them jump, like several of the people who are there waiting with Rhys jump and, like, turn to look at you in surprise. And you hear Rhys kind of puts his hand on a woman's shoulder and pushes past her. And it's like, don't worry, everybody. These are the friends that I spoke about. They're going to help us get out of here.
One will very slowly pull back the hood.
And you see a woman who's standing there, long, thick, blonde hair. And it takes you a second to think about it as you're looking at her, but you realize that she has much the same face as, a lot of the same features as Rhys. but a little bit shorter, a little more petite with blonde hair. But sort of the same like curl to her smile and the same little like cleft in her chin, sharp features. You would guess probably like relatives or siblings of some sort. And she goes, "An Asha High." She goes, "You didn't tell us that one of them was part of the group."
Is this a problem?
No, I'm just surprised. I haven't seen anybody except for humans for the last few months. And the UNT, of course, but the Ashahai were one of the first that were encouraged to avoid this part of the Empire.
If for their purposes that was wise, the Ashahai and the UNT are the most ancient of enemies. They would not have tolerated this.
I'm just glad you're here. We were worried that no one was going to come.
Alwyn mentioned the guard situation. Do either of you two happen to know? And like
Alwyn and Reese share a quick, or Alwyn, Reese, and the woman share a quick look. And after a moment, you see one of the other humans walks up, pushes her cloak back, and it is the woman you met at the alchemist shop earlier, or the magic shop earlier.
This stream's frozen real quick.
Oh. Sorry, we're frozen for everyone. Just give us 1 sec while we work on getting back up.
I mean, it's frozen.
I think it's...
Hear you.
I think it's
the internet in general, because I feel like we're all kind of like
yeah, internet's weird tonight.
Yeah.
No, I was watching it. We dropped down to not streaming, basically. But it should be back up now.
Okay.
I mean, I obviously can't check until the delay finishes doing whatever it's going to do, but...
Oh, no, it looks like we're back.
Yep. Okay, you should be good. Yep. There's our weird little blip. Okay, we should be back.
Okay, excellent. Sorry, everybody. We just had a little quick technical difficulty. Coming back as the three of them all look to each other after you had that question about if they know anything about an alternate route out of this Seren. And after a moment, a figure pushes out from the rest of the other group of people who are in the room, and she pushes her hood back, and it's Amalia, the woman who you saw previously at the alchemist shop, who you bought your supplies from. And she goes, "I might have a suggestion. I had kept some of these. I had brought a few things that might be helpful just in case, since we were, leaving town and I have to leave most of my shop behind." She's like, "These might be able to help." And she pulls out a sack from her pouch and tosses it onto the table. As it slides across the table, several pieces of what look to be like chalk kind of roll out. She goes, "That's boulderer's chalk. It's something that my late husband was working on. If you apply it to your hands, it allows you to climb even better than normal. It works for a very short period of time, and I only have a couple of applications, but they're watching the ways in and out of the town by the gates, and I'm not sure if they're watching all of the walls."
I like how you think.
And another of them was like, "That sounds crazy, though. We're going to get caught if we try to go over the walls. There's too many guards. We could just try slipping out through one of the sides, through one of the small gate."
With this many people, unlikely.
How many applications are there?
And she kind of pushes in front of the man who is disagreeing with her to make sure that you're listening to her. She goes, "I have 6 applications. They work for about 10 minutes. And as long as they're on, you can basically climb with the ease of a spider."
So we get 1 or 2 people to climb up. We get them to set up a rope and a pulley. And then we can pull the rest up and over and then drop them down the other side.
That's my thought as well.
Are any of the people here kids?
So I will give just so that it helps, because now you can see everyone more clearly that you joined the conversation. There is Reese, the woman who looks like Reese, and Alwyn, who are all adults. There's Amalia, the woman you met before, who's in middle-aged, but looks to be physically fit. You don't think climbing would be a huge problem for her. There's 2 other men, and then another woman, and then 2 children, a little boy and a little girl.
Twid is gonna waddle over to the kids and go, "Hi, my name is Twid."
After a moment, one of the little boy that you were seeing before goes, "Hi, I'm Colwyn."
And then Twid will start pulling out their dolls and just playing with the kids with the dolls, if they would like to.
Give me just a flat persuasion check. Like, that's just... How inviting is Twid being versus creepy?
Persuasion is 23.
Like, once you start pulling out all of your dolls, they're like, both of the little kids light up and they join you and start playing with the dolls with you.
And Twid will be like, I made these myself.
And the little girl's like, "That's so cool. I like this one," and holds up Lucretia. "I like her hair." And she goes, "Are you a doll?"
No. Well, not exactly.
"What are you?" Because, like, I've never seen anyone that looks like you before.
I'm a salsa red.
What's a salsa red?
I'm like, I got this. This is sort of like my clothes. And like Twid's like poking their body. And then inside of me, and I don't know, Twid will like poke towards like their glowing spark. And like, but that's really me in there. And this is just sort of like the clothes I wear.
That's so cool. So you're like a pixie magic person inside of a big suit of armor. Only like a short suit of armor.
I mean, if you're looking for like a pixie magic person, and Twid will snap so Selwyn is visible.
And she leans over and hugs Selwyn. Like, full body, like little kid just hugs. "Oh my god, it's a fairy!" And then we'll cut back to everyone else having a serious conversation.
Hey, at least we're making sure the children are not traumatized right now.
The children are distinctly less traumatized than when this started. So, like, Twid's accomplishing some stuff. Twid's doing the good work.
I am not opposed to the wall idea. Perhaps send myself and someone with a bit more long range up the wall. Use another dose on pork roll, as we don't have to worry about him breaking the ropes. And then get everyone else over.
How tall are these walls? Like, if
when you came in, you figure they're probably about like 10 to 12 feet tall.
Oh, then I can use Thorn Whip to kind of like lower that, not like attack someone with the Thorn Whip, but like lower it down to help pull someone up.
They weren't super long. They weren't super huge. I think more the concern is like making sure you get through quietly. Is why they're concerned, and of course, children. Like that's a complication.
Yeah, the children are an issue. Honestly, my suggestion was going to be the two most able-bodied adults strap the child to the back for the wall portion.
Oh, I figured you were going to be like, put the children in the bag of holding.
They cannot breathe in there, Valen.
Oh.
Remember, those of you in the audience, don't put children inside of bags of holding. We do not endorse inappropriate use of bags of holding.
This episode brought to you by viewers like you, shared via PBS. The more you know.
The more you know.
Yeah, so
It
seems the best way.
seems like the thinker have come up with the best idea that we've heard so far. So, I mean, that I'll help where I can.
Oh no!
I think we have a rough plan.
the other woman who is currently being like held by, like, comforted by the other man that's there, speaks up at that moment and goes, "Do you really think we can make it out of here in time, though?"
We'll make sure.
If we leave now.
I mean, we've escaped some pretty crazy things, so like I think we can get over a wall.
Yeah, this isn't a dragon or a Spellvor Hydra.
I wouldn't do this if I didn't need to, but both of my brothers disappeared, and I'm afraid what will happen with the rest of my family if we stay much longer.
You have a better
I
chance
have
coming with
seen
us.
the horrors Meadowsweet is capable of. You're right to leave.
Good. We'll do everything we can.
The best you can do is be quiet and be quick.
We can do that.
I feel like Calvin's gonna set up next to the alchemist shop owner and be like, so like, if I'm helping you escape, can I get some of my gold back?
She like looks you up and down and smirks at you for a minute, and she goes, I mean, let's see how the escape goes, maybe. I just have to remind you, I'm pulling up my roots and leaving a lot of my assets behind. They're not exactly liquid. I mean, some of them are liquids, but they're dangerous liquids. I can't transport them as far as I would like.
I mean,
I feel like
we could go.
I was gonna say, like, I
to
feel
the
like
shop
Alan-
and steal stuff. We have a bag of holding. We could just.
We don't have time for that, Calvin.
She pats her bag that's like on her hip, and she goes, I'm aware of what bags of holding are. She goes, I had to leave some stuff behind, but I've also left a few surprises behind that might buy us some more time, just in case. And then you see her, like, she pulls a bottle out of her bag and she shakes it, and it starts to glow like this soft magenta color, and you see she pulled out a scrap of fabric and like compares to the color. She goes, good, we have about an hour left. We should probably get out of here fairly soon if we don't want to have some pyrotechnics to deal with.
Flip is just gonna like pop up behind Calvin and be like, oh, she's fun, I like her.
Thorn is gonna walk over to the two children and like kneel down, like it's very like a knight in shining armor moment.
Mm-hmm.
And look the two of them in the eye and go, we're going to get you two to safety. But I have to ask, it might get scary. You might see some things you did not want. But remain as quiet as you can. It's imperative that until we are in the woods and cannot see this town, that we are not found.
The little boy who spoke up Colwyn before goes, you don't have to worry about me. I'm super brave. I'm not going to have any problems.
I'm quite sure you are. And Thor looks at him. You're what? 12? 13?
I'm 9.
Forgive me, I forget humans age differently.
You're elf, right?
Kala Ashahai, yes.
Are you like super old, like 40?
Our years number slightly differently than yours, but in human
So, like-
years, I am 55. Barely an adult by my
Valen yells
standards.
over. Yes, they're old.
I am considered very young among my people.
You're super old, but you don't have any wrinkles like other old people.
Ashahai age very slowly. My grandmother is well over 500, and she's still with us.
Okay, I can be quiet.
Good. I will do what I can.
And then you hear them like lean over and be like, they're super old.
Children are strange.
To lean in. I know.
Rhys steps up, or like kind of steps into the conversation at that point. It's like, so do you think this is a good idea for us to try to climb over the wall and get out of here?
It's the best idea there is.
I might know a spot that would get us pretty close to the forest when we get out. And it heads us in the right direction towards the barrow.
Let's do it.
Alan, care to come over the wall with me?
Yeah. Let's do this.
And Thorn will grab a piece of chalk for each of us. Calvin, perhaps you and Porkroll take 2 of the others and then leave the other 2 for the worst climbers?
I think it might actually be best if we plan slightly better and only use half the doses in case we have to like jump down and find another place to do it.
True.
I mean,
So,
part of the plan is to have just like 2 climbers go up and set up a rope system, right?
We should probably have Porkroll go up because I don't think we have enough rope to lift Porkroll. And I would go up so I can set it up. And then I think we just need somebody who can keep a lookout, and it was quiet.
I can handle that if you're going up.
So then I think the three of us should go up and try and set it up, and then if we decide that it's not going to work and we have to jump back down and try a different plan, we still have climb over the wall at a different spot as an option available, as opposed to use all the chalk at one place and then be screwed.
I can have Selwyn fly up with you too, so you don't have to yell back down to us.
See,
because I'll be able to hear what Selwyn hears.
So I think that should be the plan.
Sounds like a good plan to me.
Before we head out, how long do I have on my enhance ability?
So how long is the enhance ability at 3rd level?
I don't think the level changes duration, just the number of targets. So it still lasts an hour.
Okay, so I would say you probably have about 15 minutes left at this point, because it only took you about 10, 15 to get here. You've been talking for a little bit, settling everybody in. I'll say 20. I'll say 20.
Okay.
Don't want to be disgenerous since you burned a 3rd level spell slot. At that point, yes, you probably have about 20 minutes left.
So long enough to get us to the wall.
Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, I'll pull out the Taroka card and kind of look at it and be like, if we want your stealth to hold up, we should move quickly.
We're all ready to go whenever you are. Just say the word and we'll be happy to follow you.
Allons-y.
Lead the way.
The word.
And everyone's kind of bundles themselves up, and Alwyn and Reese take the point and lead you back through the back room and out the back door through the alleyways. Give me all stealth checks for everybody.
Oh wow, Twid got 23.
Dirty 20.
11.
Calvin got a 10 and Porkroll got a 12.
Okay.
Dirty 20 for Flip.
So most of the party did pretty good. There's a couple of clanks and like once or twice you can clear people like bump into things. They almost knock over a couple of crates in one of the alleyways. But you start to make your way pretty close, and you get to the section of wall where both Alwyn and Ree sort of hold their hands up and look left and right and then wave you over. And you're at a part of the wall that looks a little less well kept and battered, but you can clearly see that like I said, it's about 12 feet tall or so here. Most of the buildings facing it don't have windows on this side facing the wall, or if they do, they are like covered or like someone has pulled the like slats over them.
Alwyn, when your guards are on patrol, do they usually carry torches?
My guards do, yes, but the ones that came, a couple of them were Yuan Ti, from what I heard through the grapevine. So there might be a concern because some of them have been able to use magic and such.
Okay.
And as you're asking that question, you hear this like shockingly loud voice after being so stealthy the entire time. Twiddlemop, where are you? And after a moment, you recognize the voice. It is so loud though that like one of the windows near you, you can see the glass kind of shaking as it like rings through town. It is the voice of Ormond, your friend from the Temple of the Architect Resurgent in Truehome.
Twid, I fully support you killing him.
Thorn looks at Calvin. Go now.
Twiddlemop, I've come to play.
Calvin and
We weren't
Porkroll
done
are
having our
gonna
conversation yet.
Chalk and
Where's
scarab
that voice coming from?
It is booming through town. If you want to give me a perception check to try to figure out like where it's coming from.
10.
15.
15 with the 15. You're thinking even with the volume, it's probably coming back from like the marketplace, like the center of town.
I don't think they're close. I think they're in the market.
Everyone else can hear that, right? This is not just me?
No, we
Oh,
can
we
hear
can
that.
hear that.
Twid, do you still have that damn
you
seal?
back.
Twid, do you have that symbol?
I'll go through my bag. Do I have that symbol?
Did you get rid of it?
I guess I handed it to my friend doll, and
Throw it away.
Give it to me.
Twid is gonna go, Selwyn, I need your help, and hand it to Selwyn and go, Selwyn, fly as far away as you can.
Selwyn grabs a little piece of fabric that was stitched with the symbol of the Architect Resurgent and a gift for you from Orban, and starts to flutter away as fast as possible in the opposite direction,
Better
disappearing
than
as
my
they
plan
do
to shoot it
so.
with an arrow.
And invisible.
And invisible, yes. And takes off, disappearing into the night. And you can hear, like, the humans, the group that's with you, Alwyn starts swearing, like, God damn it. We need to get out of here now.
Calvin's working on it.
Plan hasn't changed.
Okay, give me quick athletics checks for your climb.
Do I get a bonus for chalk?
I'm going to say that the DCs are very different because you have the chalk, so give me a roll. What happens is also very different. Like, you don't fall.
Well, Calvin rolls a natural 1, -1, so 0.
Wow. Terrible. So the problem is, as you stick your hands to the wall, you have this terrible, like, panic moment of realizing that you're not sure how to unstick them without falling.
And Porkroll gets a 15.
Porkroll just starts climbing up with the ropes over his back, and it gets to the top pretty quick. While you're still down there, like, but this clearly can't hold me. Like, this makes no sense because, like, my hands, I can remove them anytime that I want. Like, you have, like, a weird nerd spiral of, like, the physics of this don't work, so you don't trust it.
Twid is gonna, like, pull on Flip's hand. If I see Orman, can I kill him this time?
I think we're in that position. Yeah.
Twig, you're hurting my feelings. I thought we were going to be friends. I gave you a present and everything. Why are you running away from me? I want to be your real friend. I know you don't have any yet.
Is there a rope yet?
I will say at that point, a rope drops down to the ground and you can see Porkroll above, like, securing it to something.
God bless Porkroll.
The MVP of all of us.
MVP.
The one's gonna start nudging the humans towards the rope.
And I'm going to say we're at 8:40, so let's use this as our 5-minute break. For all of you that are watching, we're just going to take a quick breather, stretch our legs, get some water. Feel free to do so as well. Like I mentioned before, the only announcement we have right now is that we're going to be starting a brand new campaign set in a mythical world of ancient Greece come this Wednesday if you want to join us, powered by the Cortex system. So something very different and very fresh from what we're doing right now. Otherwise, if you're enjoying, definitely think about giving us a follow so you can be updated when we do our future games. And we'll be back in about 5 minutes. See you then.